So hello, I'm back in my home in the United States now, but I still am going to edit these vlogs and post them because I know I have some family and friends that still would appreciate seeing these, I think, and I want to keep kind of an interactive scrapbook for myself about my time in France as well. So I left off in Lyon on my third week, which was a really fun week. I think it might have been my favorite one there. So we started off Monday strong, going to a traditional chocolaterie. And yes, that does indeed translate to a chocolate maker or a shop. We got to watch the chef make chocolate right in front of our eyes while he taught us about the art of making chocolate, and we even got to bring home some goodies too. Then the next day, we took a tour of the neighborhood right by Saint Jean-Baptiste Cathedral again, but this time we learned about the Renaissance period and all of the cool architectural features of the buildings that were constructed there. We went traveling again. We looked at round staircases, hidden courtyards, and a Mary. My favorite was La Tour Rose, just because it was so different and pretty. You would never know these little places were hidden here in Lyon. So the next day we visited a museum dedicated to showing what an aristocrat's life was like, and it was so fun and interesting. Everything was so elaborate, from the furniture, to the walls, to the upholstery on chairs, and the tapestries. I cracked up when I saw the stool to the left made so that ladies could kneel and rest their elbows on the cushion above so they could watch the men play cards or talk without wrinkling their dress. I love seeing this place because it was so interesting and stoked my imagination, but I'm definitely happy that we live in the times now where we don't have to take baths in donkey milk like some aristocrats apparently did, and I don't have to kneel on a stupid cushion to watch men play cards. I can play with the men and play cards with them, even if I suck at it. Anyways, tangent. So we also went to see a printing press museum, which actually had a very influential history in Lyon, which I wasn't really aware of before. So it was fun to see the machinery there and to see all the cool prints. So then that weekend we went to Avignon, the city of the popes and home to the theater festival for the entire month of July. My friends immersed themselves into the festival spirit and went on the carousel, but then we went exploring. So we first happened upon this Gothic-style church by chance and decided to go inside, but this church was freaking creepy. It was dark and damp and no one was in there. It was clearly not meant for tourists, but it didn't really look like residents used it either. Like, look at this poor Mother Mary and Jesus and tell me it's not creepy. Yeah, it's creepy. There was some heavenly light flowing through the windows, but not much. But anyways, after that we walked near the massive palace of the popes, where popes lived in when it was too dangerous to live in Rome. To use my favorite word, very impressive. Then we stopped by the original chapel right next to the palace, which was so much lovelier than the previous church, and we even saw the choir rehearsing. I took a little bit of time to walk around on my own afterwards, and I got to enjoy beautiful views of the Rhone River and the mountains framing the town. Then after that, we descended into the fun and sanity of the theater festival. We saw 2 shows, but there were all sorts of acts in the streets, like these delightful clarinets. This guy in a unicorn onesie doing nothing but standing there on a chair. And these creepy actor et actrice who looked like they belonged in the Gothic church we saw earlier. So let's also take a moment to appreciate the song of the cicadas, who were performing all day. It was a really fun day, and we got to round out the day with a ride on the Ferris wheel, with beautiful nighttime views of Avignon and another Mary. The next morning, we toured this old monastery across the river from Avignon for Chartres monks, inhabited for many years, but now is held as a library for theater and the arts, and where writers and other artists can receive money from the government to work there. During the old days, the monks weren't allowed to talk or interact with each other, so they accepted meals and other communication through these tiny doors, and they lived simple lives in modest apartments and private courtyards. There were remains of gorgeous frescoes on the walls and a big dome in the central courtyard that covered a big well. Apparently they did their laundry in it. And it was a very meditative and pretty place in the beautiful south of France. And we spent the rest of the hot afternoon across the river, enjoying the views of the river and the bridge of Avignon. It was a really hot day and a long weekend, but I really loved Avignon. It was gorgeous and made me so excited to come back to the south of France later in my trip. Like, just look at this. It's just this field of sunflowers. How lovely is that? So that was the end of my third week in Lyon. with Avignon, and I think it really was one of my favorite weeks in Lyon because of the fun things we did and the interesting places we went to, and especially the theater festival in Avignon. But yeah, I still have quite a few weeks left to edit, so I'll keep putting those out as my school year begins back in Arizona. But thank you for watching this video, and yeah, let's give another round of applause for the cicadas, who are really the stars of the week.